Pena National Palace, Portugal's fairy-tale crown above Sintra, high above the lush hills of Sintra, where mist rolls between pine trees and Atlantic winds shape the landscape, stands one of Europe's most magical landmarks. Pena National Palace, with its bright yellow walls, bold red towers, and a silhouette that looks almost unreal. The palace feels less like a historical monument and more like something pulled from a dream. But Pena is not just a beautiful castle. 'Tis the story of romantic imagination, royal ambition, and Portugal's cultural rebirth. It is a place where architecture becomes fantasy, and where a nation's identity is carved into stone, color, and myth. This is the story of Pena National Palace, the fairy-tale palace that became a symbol of Portugal itself. A land made for legends. Before we step into the palace itself, we must understand its setting. Sintra is not an ordinary place. For centuries, it has been known for its cool mountain climate. Dense forests, dramatic cliffs, mysterious fog, even ancient civilizations saw Sintra as sacred. Later, Portuguese kings and nobles came here to escape the heat of Lisbon. Over time, Sintra became a landscape of royal retreats filled with villas, gardens, and hidden paths. In the 19th century, Sintra became the perfect stage for a new European movement, Romanticism. And Romanticism loved places like Sintra, wild, emotional, mysterious, and filled with history. From monastery to palace. Long before Pena became a palace, the site was home to something very different, a monastery. In the Middle Ages, a small chapel existed on the hill. Later, in the 16th century, it developed into the monastery of Our Lady of Pena, occupied by monks. The monastery was peaceful and remote, surrounded by nature and silence. But in 1755, everything changed. The Lisbon earthquake, one of the most devastating natural disasters in European history, struck Portugal. Although Sintra was not destroyed like Lisbon, the monastery on the Pena Hill was heavily damaged. Over time, the monastery was abandoned. For years, the ruins remained silent stones on a misty hilltop, and then, in the 19th century, a king arrived with a new vision. The Romantic king, Ferdinand II. The creation of Pena National Palace is inseparable from one man, King Ferdinand II. Ferdinand was not born Portuguese. He was a German prince who married Portugal's queen, Maria II, and became king consort. But what made Ferdinand extraordinary was not politics, it was his artistic soul. He loved painting, music, architecture, gardens, symbolism, and history. Ferdinand was deeply inspired by Romanticism, which celebrated imagination, emotion, and the beauty of the past. For him, ruins were not just ruins, they were opportunities to build something poetic. In 1838, Ferdinand acquired the ruined monastery site and surrounding lands. His plan was bold. He would build a palace that would not only be a royal retreat, but a masterpiece of romantic architecture, rivaling the great castles of Europe. Building of fantasy in stone construction began in the 1840s, and what emerged was unlike anything Portugal had ever seen. Pena Palace is a glorious mixture of styles, combining elements of neo-Gothic, medieval, castle-like features. Neo-Manueline, a uniquely Portuguese style inspired by the Age of Discoveries. Neo-Moorish arched windows and decorative patterns influenced by Islamic architecture. Renaissance and Baroque details, this combination was not accidental. Romanticism rejected strict rules. Instead, it celebrated the fusion of cultures and time periods, creating architecture that told a story through contrast. And Pena tells that story loudly. Bright colors, unusual angles, dramatic towers, ornate stone carvings. It is a palace designed not to appear perfect or classical, but to feel mysterious, emotional, and alive. The colors. Why is it yellow and red? One of the most striking aspects of Pena Palace is its vivid color scheme. The palace looks painted almost like a toy castle, but the colors are meaningful. They create a powerful visual effect against the green Sintra mountains and the pale sky. The bright yellow and red sections emphasize architectural contrast, dramatic storytelling, royal presence. The palace is meant to be seen from far away like a crown placed above Sintra. And when fog surrounds it, Pena appears to float above the clouds, becoming even more magical. The entrance and the symbol of the Triton at the main entrance. Visitors encounter one of the palace's most famous sculptures, the Triton Gate. A Triton is a mythological sea creature half human, half fish linked to the god Poseidon. Here, the Triton appears emerging from stone, surrounded by marine symbolism and plants. This sculpture represents the meeting of land and sea, nature and civilization, mystery and transformation. Some interpret it as a symbol of Portugal itself, a nation shaped by the ocean and exploration. In romantic architecture, such symbolism matters. Pena was built not only for comfort, but for imagination. Inside the palace, royal life in a dream world, while the exterior feels like fantasy, the interior is surprisingly intimate. Inside, the palace contains royal apartments, dining rooms, chapels, ceremonial halls. Narrow corridors and staircases. Much of the interior reflects the 19th century royal style, comfortable, elegant, and decorative. Rooms include richly patterned walls, ornate furniture, chandeliers. Painted ceilings. Unlike vast palaces built mainly for ceremony, Pena was also a place for private royal living, a retreat from court politics. It was where monarchs could feel closer to nature, away from the heat and pressure of Lisbon. The gardens, a romantic forest empire. Pena is not only a palace, it is a kingdom of gardens. The Pena Park is enormous, spreading across hundreds of acres. Ferdinand II designed it as a romantic landscape garden, full of mystery, surprise, and exploration. The park includes hidden pathways, exotic trees from all over the world, lakes, fountains, and bridges, viewpoints that reveal the palace dramatically through the forest. Ferdinand imported plants from North America, Asia, Australia, and beyond. The result is a living museum of global nature. In many ways, Pena Park is as important as the palace itself, because Romanticism was not only about architecture, it was about emotion through landscape. The Portuguese monarchy and the final years. For decades, Pena Palace served as a royal summer residence. Later, monarchs continued to use it. King Carlos I and Queen Amelia. It remained a place of royal escape and reflection. But Portugal's monarchy was approaching its end. In 1910, Portugal experienced a revolution and the monarchy was abolished. The royal family left the country and their palaces became state property. Pena Palace, once a symbol of royal romantic power, entered a new phase. It became a national monument, and it would eventually become something even greater, a global icon. Pena Palace today, a UNESCO treasure today. Pena National Palace is recognized as part of the UNESCO World Heritage Cultural Landscape of Sintra. It is one of Portugal's most visited monuments, drawing travelers from across the world. Visitors come to experience the palace's unique architecture, its breathtaking views, its dreamy atmosphere, its gardens and hidden paths. But beyond tourism, Pena is a symbol. It represents Portuguese cultural identity, the Romantic era's imagination, the fusion of civilizations in Iberian history. The power of dreams turned into stone, a palace that feels like a living myth. Pena National Palace is not just an architectural wonder. It is a reminder that history is not always built by war and politics. Sometimes it is built by art, passion, and imagination. It began as a quiet monastery. It became a romantic fantasy. It survived the fall of monarchy. And today, it stands as one of the most magical palaces on earth. Pena teaches us something rare, that a building can be more than shelter, more than power, more than a symbol, can become a dream that refuses to fade. And as long as the palace rises above, Sintra bright against the green mountains and drifting mist, Portugal's fairy tale crown will continue to inspire the world.